So, chances are, if you're watching this, or just in general, most people, my internet presence and what most people think of me as is someone who is associated with stories and media, obviously. That is my internet presence. That's what I talk about. That's my job, essentially. My video essays, all these side channel videos, my streams, everything has to do with stories. Video games, anime, manga. Probably what people know me for most of all is my takes and analyses and streams and stuff on anime and manga. A close behind that is probably video games. A little less than that, even though video games is my favorite medium. And then behind that, TV shows, but which is I still talk about a lot, but less than the other three. And then here and there, books, movies. I wish I could watch more movies. I watch a decent amount. I wish I could watch more. I don't read many books. I wish I had time. The point is, people know me for my takes on fiction. But there is a whole other side to me that is just as important, that's been a part of me since I started experiencing fiction, when I picked up Pokemon Red when I was a kid, and that is sports. I am a huge sports fan. It is just as important to me as stories. Maybe a little bit less, but it's comparable. I am who I am, partly a huge proportion of who I am is due to sports and my relationship with sports, nearly as much as fiction. And the thing is, I'm not a sports content creator, I'm not a sports analyst, I'm not a sports guy, and so I don't talk about it as much because that's not my demographic. If you look back on my tweets prior to 2017 or so, it's so much of it is sports. It's a lot of it sports because that's who I am. And that didn't stop being the case. I didn't stop paying attention to sports or watching sports after I started doing content about anime and manga and video games. But I just stopped talking about it as much on my Twitter because and my day-to-day life on the internet because I didn't think many people were interested in it, and they aren't. I do tweet about it once in a while, but most of the time it doesn't do nearly as many numbers as my tweets about video games or anime or manga or TV shows. And a lot of it's people being surprised that I'm into sports because new people are coming in all the time, and I really appreciate that, but they just don't know that about me. So I thought I'd put together this small video about my relationship with sports, who I support, that sort of thing, just to put it somewhere, because sometimes people are curious about this, and this is a very integral part of who I am. So I started, let me start with this, actually. Some sports I really respect and really like and really enjoy when I can get to them, but unfortunately don't really have the time to get to them often, I love tennis. I think tennis is great whenever I watch it. The storylines, the pure athleticism, the professionalism, the decorum, the sportsmanship. Tennis is incredible. Men and women's tennis, both. I really like it whenever I can watch it. I just can't watch it very often. And same with volleyball. Haikyuu is partly to do with that. I'm a Canadian, but I don't really like hockey. I don't enjoy it. It's not a sport that I feel, nothing wrong with it at all. It's just not my thing. Same with golf. Same with baseball. Although the Blue Jays just had that crazy run to the World Series and they almost won it. Honestly, I think they should have won it. And now they're kind of shitting the bed in the season, the start to the season. But during that run, I was quite into it. I would go to bars, I would go to events to check out the games and discuss it with friends and all that sort of thing. I was really into it. I was really into the Blue Jays. So maybe in the future I'll do a bit more paying attention to baseball. Before I thought I hated it. I thought I didn't like it. But this past year I've been like, no, it's actually quite a cool sport. I also watched Diamond No Ace, which helped me to properly understand it a bit better. But yeah, those are on the periphery. I also watch Olympics. I love the Summer Olympics. I love track. I love the swimming. All that stuff. But I have three sports in particular that I pay attention to more than anything. Third place is the NFL, American football. Now, there are lots of elements of that sport that I don't like, don't condone really. Certain things to do with concussions, concussion protocol, all the certain rules. I don't want to get into all that, but I generally really enjoy the NFL, primarily because of the storylines and the narratives. And I think I love narratives, I love stories, and I think the NFL has some of the greatest sports stories on a season-to-season basis out there. I'm always keeping up to date with, analysts' opinions. I don't always agree, but I find it fun, the buzz from week to week, from game day to game day, Sunday to Sunday, of how people think this team's doing versus this team, or is this team starting to choke, is this team starting to click into gear at the right time of the season, what does this mean for Patrick Mahomes' legacy, all that stuff. I eat it up. I love the narratives and storylines of the NFL. I got into it in university because a lot of my roommates were into it. They liked it. And I saw them watching it. I'm like, I should get into it. What team should I support is what I thought. And I basically just looked at all the logos, heard all the names of the teams, and picked the Indianapolis Colts when I did that. They had just had a really good season. Andrew Luck I think they got into the conference finals. Andrew Luck was top of the world, and I picked the Colts. It turns out right after that, they completely shit the bed and have really not been good since, like a playoff appearance or two, maybe. And I found I'm sure it didn't help that they haven't been a good team really consistently since then, but I just had trouble getting into them, getting into their culture, getting into their lore, feeling like a part of the team. I tried to get into other teams, but ultimately I decided that the NFL for me works as when I'm a neutral. So I'm a neutral. Every year I sort of get into the NFL and I take a look at all the teams and I look at the storylines and the players and the drafts and all that stuff. I used to be into college football as well, Michigan State, but these days I don't really watch it. Outside of once in a while. The atmosphere in those games are great, fantastic events. I digress. I'm a neutral with the NFL now. I kind of start the season looking at teams of interest, and as the first few weeks go by, I look at storylines, I look at things, and I develop soft spots for certain teams. I developed a soft spot for the Seattle Seahawks right away this past year. They won the Super Bowl, so that was cool. So yeah, I'm a neutral. Who I support every year, or who I have a soft spot for every year, kind of depends. I go for underdogs. I go for teams that I enjoy how they play generally, or that are really entertaining. This next year, I won't be going for the Seahawks because I don't want to go for the reigning Super Bowl champs. That's kind of boring to me. Unless you're a supporter of them, which I'm not. I like to go for different teams every year. So I just find that to be the most enjoyable way to experience the NFL. And yeah, every year, I actually might actually be more invested than I am proportionately. I don't watch the games actually as much as I would like to. I watch them a decent bit, but I do tend to miss games and check out highlights just because I'm busy. And I kind of consume the storylines and the buzz from week to week just as much, if not more, than the actual games. But I really like it. That's me with the NFL. Number 2, and part of this was also because of an anime, is Kuroko no Basket. Kuroko no Basket got me into it, is the NBA, basketball. I never used to be a fan of basketball, but I watched Kuroko no Basket, and funnily enough, because people who watch that anime sometimes say it's like a disgrace to the NBA, it got me interested in the sport, and it got me interested in my local team. I'm Canadian, the Toronto Raptors. I live in southern Canada and in and around the GTA. I love my city, Toronto. I love that area, and so I started paying attention to the Toronto Raptors. This ended up being, the season I ended up supporting them was the year before they won the NBA. So I believe 2017-2018 is the first year I started supporting them. They won the NBA the year after that. And I've been supporting ever since. I really like the NBA in terms of its storylines as well, just like the NFL. I love the Raptors. I love the history. I love the summer where they won. That playoff run. Oh my god, there was nothing like it. I'm so nostalgic about it. I know because Game of Thrones season set, or the last season of Game of Thrones, aired and my friends and I would watch the episode together, and then, go to watch the Raptors game after or before it, depending on when the time was. And we'd maybe go to a little bit of a celebration if they won a game. We keep up the scores in before and after the horrible Game of Thrones episodes. I have such nostalgia for the summer of 2017. It was 2019. It was so great. The Kawhi acquisition, winning. I have so many pictures of it. Celebration Square. The city was abuzz. With something that's never been replicated for me quite since then. Just the excitement of the Raptors being so good, being potentially the best team in the NBA, winning that, the history of that. Oh, it was so good. And then ever since then, things have kind of gone downhill, Raptors are not doing as well these days. They're a decent team now. As it stands, I think they're 6th in the table. They're maybe going to make the playoffs. They might be in the play-in and get kicked out. They might make it straight into the playoffs. I just want to, speaking selfishly, I want the Raptors to be in the playoffs again. I like the squad. I'm a bit frustrated with the squad planning because with this current squad, there's no huge path to being a serious contender without blowing it up. So I'm kind of wondering, unless something crazy happens and the team unlocks a new gear, I'm kind of wondering what the plan is long term. So things aren't great, but at least they're competitive. At least the team can be fun to watch. At least they may be in the playoffs this year. And that'll be exciting. I don't imagine it'll be anything less than a loss in the first round to the likes of the Knicks or something, or Boston or something. But hey, at least they're contending for the playoffs. If you can't tell, I want a bit more. I want a bit more of a plan going forward. I think the planning the last few years has been a bit off. Scotty Barnes needs more support around him. There are some good pieces, but yeah. Anyway, I love the NBA and I support the Raptors. But my first and foremost love, the sport I fell in love with the most at the start, and the sport that to this day is my favorite, as you can probably tell by my jacket, is football. I support two teams. Firstly, Toronto FC and the MLS. I know, MLS quality, not good. Toronto FC actually just scored recently off a hilarious own goal. That went viral, that's been doing the rounds. But I do support Toronto FC. It's hard because the times where they're bad, my God, it just makes me want to abandon them, and I do pay less attention, and it's honestly kind of how bad they've been in recent years is kind of just like makes you want to forget about the MLS entirely, and I kind of did, and I kind of am at the moment. But again, when they won the MLS Cup years ago now, and when they were constantly in finals for a good 4 to 5 year period, Josie Altidore, Jovinko, Michael Bradley, the squad in and around them, Greg Vanney. Again, the city was a buzz. I went to the semifinal for the MLS Cup where they beat Montreal. Oh my God. Not quite to the to the days in and around the city and the buzz in and around the city for the NBA with the Raptors, but man, that was special too. My dad and I would catch a train, go to the game. It was just the atmosphere. Oh, it was beautiful, beautiful. And I hope those days come back, because lately, Toronto FC is doing a bit better. They seem competent at least, whereas the last few years they've been an embarrassment. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm fully aware, like I said, MLS kind of sucks ass. It has for a while. It keeps feeling like they're going on an upward trajectory. They got Messi. They keep getting huge players, Griezmann, James Rodriguez, but they're all beyond their prime. That doesn't really seem to change. I don't think much has changed for the MLS. I don't think it's a good league. Hopefully that changes, but either way, when I have a local team, I'm going to support it, and I do generally enjoy keeping up with it when Toronto FC are good. So yeah, but most importantly is Manchester United. When I was 11 years old, something like that, 10, a long time ago, I just was flipping channels, and I just happened to come across Manchester United versus Manchester City. And Manchester United won that game 1-0. And I think it was kind of fate, you know? If I had turned the channel onto Chelsea, I would maybe have a Chelsea jacket right now. Arsenal, same thing. Liverpool, same thing. But I just happened to come across Manchester United as a Canadian kid. Liked how they played, liked that they won, and followed them since then, and it became something ingrained in me. And up until 2013, really sustained immense success. We were incredibly lucky. And since then, we've been punished. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, it's been a goddamn nightmare. Not to say that there haven't been highlights. We've won trophies. There's been some good seasons for sure. But for the last 10 years, more than 10 years, 12, 13 years, it's been rough. Whenever there's been progress, it's been 3 steps back. And progress and 3 steps back. I'm hoping now that this is actually... things seem to have turned around with Carrick in charge now. Don't know if he's the long-term answer to the team becoming elite again, but he's done a decent job. More than decent, he's done a very good job. And I'm hoping that means that they can stay at the top. At least challenging for titles for the foreseeable future. I would like them to at least be a serious team, at least be a Champions League team, top 4 or 5 for the foreseeable future. Just consistency and maybe something to build on to then be able to challenge for titles. Get a good squad, get a solid squad, get depth. Get depth on the bench. Have players who can step up from the bench. Have a good culture. You know, all that sort of thing. Because there's been problems like that for consistently. There's been rot in the club. There's new ownership. There's been problems with that ownership, but there's been also encouraging signs. I'm hoping this summer ahead will give us some good, at least a couple of really good center midfielders, potentially a left back or left winger, maybe a center back. Just build the squad well. Build towards the future. And I'm hoping I can be optimistic of the future going forward. But yeah, I'm a Manchester United fan, and I know people can be very tribalistic about sports. I talk about anime and manga, and then offhandedly mention that I'm a United fan, and people automatically get mad at me because they're a City fan, or they're an Arsenal fan or something. And I don't buy into that tribalism. Maybe it's because I don't live in the UK. I'm not ingrained in that culture. I've just never found a reason why I have to hate on someone because of the team they support. You know, I don't see a reason to be condescending to people because of their team. You know, some light ribbing, maybe some joking around if you beat them on the weekend or something. But I've never really liked the culture of really being overly familiar and overly antagonistic with people because of the team they support. I just don't like that. I call me, you know, soft or whatever. I just don't like that. I don't think there's room for that in my life. I think there's too much negativity with that. But yeah, anyway, those are my sports teams. I guess Toronto FC. I'm a bit fair weather with Toronto FC, but I keep up with it. I'm a sheer bandwagoner with the Blue Jays whenever they're, I guess, in the playoffs. Big Raptors fan, huge Raptors fan, love the Raptors, love Manchester United even more. For better or for worse, I am always watching their games. That hasn't led to great stuff for me lately, but hopefully in the future that'll change around. Hopefully for real this time. And yeah, big fan of the NFL too. So yeah, just thought I'd get that across, because just thought I'd talk to you guys about my favorite sports, the sports I pay attention to. And this side of myself, because I don't get much of an opportunity to talk about it, because that really isn't what my internet presence is about. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Feel free to share anything about any of this, share your teams or any of that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good one.